Hi everyone, happy Monday. I hope you guys are all doing well. I am excited to be here with you guys today. I hope that everything's going well. I changed some things. We got a new computer, so I had to change some settings. So let me know if what you guys think, if it sounds okay, if I need to adjust anything that I can potentially adjust while we're live. Otherwise, I'll try and work on it for next week, but I'm trying to prevent the problems we had last week. So, and I appreciate you guys' patience through all that. But anyway, let me know how everything looks and sounds. Hi, so my name's Bev McCullough of Flamingo Toes, and I'm excited to be here with you guys sewing together my berry market quilt. We are having so much fun. This is a really fun, really easy quilt. There's only 2 blocks in it, and one of them is our cute strawberries that we made last week, and this week is our flower blocks that we're going to work on this week. This is what they look like. I have 2 versions for you guys. I have the pretty light background, and we have red flowers for the light background. And then I also have the dark background, which is kind of a navy, tealish sort of navy. And then we have white flowers for that so that they really pop. And so we're going to talk about those. This is where we run into just a couple differences between the light background and the dark background. Whereas on the strawberry blocks we made last week, there really wasn't anything different other than cutting out your fabrics, your background fabrics differently. So this week we're going to talk about tweaking that just the tiniest bit. And I've got illustrations for you in the pattern booklet so you can easily follow along. It's just going to make it a little bit easier. So I'm just thrilled. It looks like everything's good here. So I'm excited about that. Hopefully that continues as we go on. You guys know lives, they're super fun to do. I love hanging out with you guys, but it's always a little bit of a mystery what's actually going to happen during the video. So assuming all goes well, I'm also going to show you guys some really cute little strawberries that I made with Berry Market using a friend's pattern. I am a bit obsessed with them. They're so fun and easy to do. And then we will of course have our giveaways and talk about that at the end of the video as well. So I hope you guys all had a happy Easter and you're having good weather. It looked like we had some rain. We had some rain this morning here in Tennessee, so it looks like we have some rain other places too. Jeanette's here from rainy West Virginia, and looks like Teresa's got some sun in South Carolina. Wendy's here, and Teresa says it's a great day to sow some berry market flowers. Woohoo for that! Leona's here, Laura, Ruth, made it home just in time, Ruth, yay. Kimberly is here, Melissa's here. Melissa shared her strawberry blocks in my Facebook group, and they're so cute. And if you guys aren't in my Facebook group, I highly recommend you join and dive in sharing your progress. Well, you can share whatever you'd like that's quilty or stitchy or anything like that. We want to see it, but we would really love to see your strawberry blocks. Maria's here, and Lisa's here, Jackie's here, Patty. I'm so glad you guys are all here. Deborah's here from Murfreesboro. Are you getting rain down in Murfreesboro? We got rain this morning up here in Portland, and now it's just kind of cloudy and slightly gloomy-ish. I don't know, it's not horrible, but it's not super sunny and awesome either. Quilting in the Country, Lori is here from Western New York, and Kathy's here from hot San Antonio, Texas. Oh, Deborah says it's raining. Yeah, it's not been crazy stormy, which I'm down with, so I'm excited about that. All right, are you guys ready to dive in sewing? I think you're going to love these blocks. There's really nothing complicated to them other than following the steps. We're going to do a little bit of stitch and flip on the corners of the flowers and just assembly. So it's really fun and easy. So let's look at the differences between the 2 background versions. And if you haven't picked up the Berry Market quilt pattern, you can find that in my shop as well as in other shops, and you can also find kits still in stores. I have a link in today's video description for you that has a lot of shops carrying Berry Market, so you can put together a bundle on your own, but a lot of shops have the light background and the dark background or the dark background quilt kit, and I've tried to list those for you so that you can easily tell, of what you're searching for. So take a look at those if you haven't picked up the pattern and or the kit. So let's look at blocks. Okay. And one sec, guys. There we go. This camera's not adjusting well to the differences here, so we're just gonna roll with it. And if I have to turn it back on, if you see that little symbol, that's me having to turn the thing back on. I don't know why it's doing that, but it's coming back on, so that's all we care about. Oh, and I'm not in the upper corner of this one because I forgot to set that up. So you'll bear with me that you can't see my face, but you can hear me, and hopefully that works for you guys. We'll get that back next week. Okay, so here's our light background, here's our dark background, and the only difference is, well, we have several differences here. So the center of our blocks on the light background is going to be navy, and then we're going to use green, then red flowers, and then we're going back to navy. So you're going to keep these two navies. So we're going to use this colorway, and that's what it shows in the pattern. You can see that the pattern has these two different symbols here, and so that's going to help you know what to cut and what to use for the different blocks. So for the dark background, the difference is you're going to put those red colors in the center of the blocks. You're going to use your greens in the corners, the small corners, and in the big corners. So unlike this block that has different, this has the navy in the center and then little green ones and then navy, we're going to go red, green, green. And then we're going to use those white background prints for the flowers because we really want them to stand out against the navy background. So there's a couple different white colorways you should have with your bundles. There's this really cute gingham one, and then there's also a bicycle one that makes really cute little flowers too. So those are going to be your options here. So I'm going to actually sew up the white version, but you'll follow along if you're doing the navy version with the image that is in the pattern booklet so that you can see what to do. And you can also, screenshot this or whatever is easiest for you. Okay, so we're going to make up this version, and we're going to kind of start with the center out. I like to do that a lot of the times with my blocks because that's how my brain works. So we're going to take a piece, and you can, I didn't fussy cut these, though you can do it. This is a great size for fussy cutting. I just cut a bunch of pieces and then picked the one that I liked. And so I am going to just lay this out for you guys so you can see here what we're doing. So these are the B pieces, and we're going to put one at each corner. And then we have background E pieces. You should have 4 of those per block. And we're going to put these between the E pieces. No, B pieces. These are the E pieces. So you're going to build a little block that looks just like that, and you're going to sew this together. Now, you can follow the instructions in the pattern book and sew your 2 top rows together, sew this together, and then sew the rows to the top and bottom. But I'm going to take this over to the machine, and we're going to sew them all together at once and do kind of that web chain piecing that I like to do. So let's take this over to the machine, and we'll lay it back out there and do the same thing. Okay. We're just having all kinds of things going to sleep today, and I'm not sure what the deal with that is. We'll figure that out for next week. So I'm going to just build that block right here, and we're going to sew these together. And look how cute it looks with the little strawberries. I love it. Okay, so I'm going to take this piece right here and I'm going to sew those first two together, always with the 1/4 inch seam allowance. And then I'm going to take the next two, second row, the center and left pieces, and I didn't cut my threads there, and I'm sewing those together. And then I'm going to do the same thing with the last row, taking these pieces, putting them right sides together, and sewing. Again, without cutting my threads. Now I'll cut my threads. Okay, so, oh, Marion's here. Hi, Marion. No worries. We're just starting. So now I'm opening these pieces out, and I'm going to take the last column, and I'm going to place them right sides together and sew them together. And we're going to do this all the way down the column. So we're going to open up that middle row, and we're taking this one, and I know these are low volume, so you always want to check that you're doing right sides together. It's not too hard to tell with Dainty Daisy, but you know, if you're using like a white on white's often hard to tell. So just double check that you're putting them right sides together. And then same with this last piece. We're going to put those right sides together, sew on down, and I kept my thread without cutting my thread all the way through all the pieces. So now when we open these out, you can see that the block is built, but everything's held together by those little threads. So it's going to make it really easy to piece together these rows and make sure that I don't mess anything up. I don't have too much to mess up in this one, but when you're dealing with blocks that you could flip or turn upside down, it's kind of nice to do it this way because then you don't mess those up. So let's take these over to the iron and press, and then we will come back and sew these two rows together. Okay, and the camera's on, yay! Okay, so here's what we have. I'm gonna shimmy this over just a little bit so that we're in the thing a little bit more. And I'm just gonna press these opposite, so you're gonna take the two top and bottom rows and press them out, and then the center we will press in. There we go. Okay, so let me know while I'm sitting here sewing. Let's chat. I want to know what you guys are sewing right now, other than, of course, Berry Market, because we're all making this, right? But I want to know what other projects you're working on. Are you doing the RBD Block Challenge? Do you have any other sew-alongs that are kind of ongoing for the year? I want to know all the things. Okay, so we've pressed these. They're all held together by our little web threads. And so now we're going to turn these down and sew on either of these seams, and that will open out and be our centerpiece. So, and we don't have to cut these threads. We can just keep them in the seam allowance. They're not a problem there. So let's go back to the machine and sew those in place. Okay, Joy loves the dark background. Yay, me too, Joy. Let's see. Ruth says her quilt shop showed her how to use a blacklight flashlight to see the right side. That's a very smart move. I like that. Okay, so like I said, we're going to just sew these in place. I'm not pinning them because I can kind of feel where those seam allowances are and make sure they're nesting. But if you feel more comfortable pinning, please feel free to do so. I'm just kind of using my fingers. So we're going to sew these two seams in place, and then the center of our cute little flower block will be built out. So same thing on this side. Okay, I saw that that froze. Sorry about that, y'all. Apparently my phone is being a bit tricky today. So all we did is I sewed both seams on each side, and then we basically just open this out, and now we're going to press, and we're going to press in towards the center. There we go. Now we're just going to press those seams. Let's see what everybody's making. Joy's doing the RBD challenge and Lori Holt's Prairie Home Sampler. That sounds very cute. And Melissa's doing the RBD block challenge. Yay, I've seen your blocks, Melissa. They're very, very cute. Jeanette's doing 6 memory bears for her friend. Oh, that's very sweet, Jeanette. And Kimberly said she just did the top for a table topper this morning, trying to get a jump start for Christmas. Love it. And Leona says she just finished making a sunbonnet Sue. Oh, yay. So cute. I love it. Patty says she's making 2 baby quilts for twin boys, both with fish blocks, but different shades of fish for the background. Oh, I love that. Okay, so we're going to set our center aside. And now we're going to work on our flower pieces. So what you're going to need is you're going to need 4 of the red if you're using the light background and 4 white if you're using the blue background. And you're going to take a background piece and we're going to do stitch and flip, which means we need to draw on the diagonal side of our background pieces. We're just going to draw a little diagonal line there, which you can't see, but it's there. I just need to make these with a Sharpie sometime. And we're going to place these so that the diagonal lines go opposite each other. To basically, we want to kind of form the curve of that flower petal. So you can now see those lines. So we're going to do this one this way and this one this way, and we're going to sew on each of those marked lines. So you're going to do that times 4 so that you have 4 petals, and then times, you know, however many for your little flower blocks. You've got to make how many of these? 15 of these. So we're going to chain piece these so that they go together really fast and easy. So I'm going to take these over and sew on each of the marked lines. Okay, so hopefully we're good for a minute here. So I am going to sew on these marked lines, and I'm going to actually sew, I'm making sure they're lined up exactly with the corners of the piece below them, because that gives us a nice, straight, accurate line. And I'm going to sew just a hair on the outside, and I really mean just like a hair, like a thread's worth on the outside of that marked line, so that when we fold it back, it lines up with these sides and it's a nice even piece. At least that's the goal. That's what we're trying to do anyway. And I will admit, just like everybody else, that sometimes those stitch and flip blocks just don't flip correctly and then you get sad. So we're gonna try and avoid that. So again, what I'm doing is times 4 here. I'm just showing you on this one, and then magically the others will be done. And this is what our seams look like. And now we're going to take this over to the other table and cut and press this. Okay, you guys, I think you can probably hear it when I get up and down. And hi everybody. When you get up and down from my table, when I get up and down from my table, it's squeaky. So I think I need a new cutting table, or no, a sewing table. What it's on is like a cute vintage retro thing, and I love it, but I think I need a new one. So if you have table suggestions for your sewing machine, I'm considering just buying like a dining room table. Anyway, all that to say, I need to do that. It's so squeaky. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to trim off 1/4 of an inch outside of each of these seams. And I like to do this all at once because it's just easier since we have a lot of trimming here. And so what I'm going to do is line up these marks on my ruler. This is a Creative Grids 6.5-inch ruler. You can use any size. But I want to line up the dashed stitching lines that are 1/4 of an inch away from the seam on my seams. And that way when I cut, it will trim off 1/4 of an inch away. And I'm going to hold this down, and I'm making sure my fingers are not outside of the ruler, because that is a big no-no, right? And so now we've trimmed that away, and we're going to press these. Melissa says she uses a sturdy dining room table that she painted aqua. Ooh, that sounds very pretty. I could do that. I could paint it aqua. It would match my room. One of these days, you guys, when I get my room all tidied up, which is almost never, then I'm going to give you guys a tour in here and show you around. But it's not going to be anytime soon. I'll just confess. It's just not. Oh, there are secret things going on behind the works that I just don't have time for anything else. So now we're going to lay out the block. I'm going to flip our pattern here. And we're going to lay out the center of our flower block. So we need to put our cute centerpiece in place. And then we have these G background pieces. And again, you're going to be using different, you're going to have, and all the white, you're going to do your dark, right, instead. So I don't want to confuse anybody. And then you've made 4 of these, and look, magic, me too. And so you're going to put these in place, and now we basically have a 9-patch block, that because there's 9 pieces, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It doesn't matter that they're not all the same size. Marion says that the squeaking isn't loud. Yeah, I know it might not be loud to you, but it's loud to me, and it's driving me nuts. So it's more a personal reason than it is necessarily a video reason, if that makes sense. Oh, nice. I'm glad. Thank you. Ruth says red, navy, aqua, pink, and white are such a pretty palette. Thank you, Ruth. And Jeanette says a lot of people like those adjustable tables from Home Depot. Okay, I'll have to look for that, Jeanette. I don't know what that is. Okay, and Ruth says she does better not drawing a line and uses diagonal seam tape. Oh, that's a good idea too, Ruth. That's a good option. I like the diagonal seam tape because it makes it so you don't have to draw the line. That's similar to my laser. So I'm going to take this over to the machine, and we're going to do the exact same thing that we did for the center. We're going to sew all these pieces in place and then come back and press. So we're going to sew, you know, the rows together all at once, just like we did. Now, if that is confusing to you or you feel like it's not a good option for you, you can absolutely sew each row together just like this and then sew your rows together. But we're going to just speed up the process a little bit and do it all on the machine. Hopefully all without craziness. Okay, one sec, guys. Okay, so just like I did before, I'm going to build out my block over here, and you can do this on, you know, the side of your machine, or you can do it, you know, on a, like a, you know, a mat board or whatever you use to keep your block straight. But I like to do this before I sew it together because it's just a kind of a check for me that I am assembling it correctly. And I don't want to assemble it wrong. So we're just going to sew this together just like we did a minute ago. So let me start doing that. We're going to take the first 2 pieces in the first row, and we're just going to start sewing here. Came unthreaded there, so let's redo that. I gotta get thread here. Thread is so important when you're sewing. I find my blocks hold together so much better if there actually is thread in the machine. Okay, now we're moving. Now we're cooking. So here we go. First row. Second row, we're going to pick up and put right sides together. And as you're doing this, you're making sure that everything is in the same alignment direction as you had it laying down. So we're going to sew those second row pieces together. Again, not cutting our threads, taking the last two and sewing them together, right sides together. And then we're going to cut our threads and we're going to open up, and you can see how our block is being built. So cute, right? Now we're going to take the last pieces here and we're going to do the same thing and sew these. So let's keep going. There we go. And we're taking our last petal and placing that right sides together. Ooh, that was loud. Sometimes I start my sewing machine and it's like when you get in a car and you're not used to, even though I sew with this machine all the time. And you do that like hit on the gas pedal and you're just like flying off, you know, when you're not used to it. Yeah. Does anybody do that besides me? Patty says she just purchased an IKEA table from Facebook Marketplace and it's big, so it's perfect to have a lower height than her dining room table. Oh, that's good. I'll look for that. And Joy says she puts her blocks together on the back of her 12.5-inch ruler and carries them to the machine. They don't slip because of the surface on the ruler. Joy gets points for being a genius today because that's very, very clever, Joy. I like that. Okay, so here's our block. Look how cute it looks. And we're going to just take this over and press these, and then we'll come back and sew these two seams just like we did in the center. Okay, so I'm gonna shimmy our little wool mat over a little bit more again. And I'm going to lay this down upside down. And I've talked to you guys about this, I have to do this sideways when I'm doing these because it's just easier to move the iron that way. So I realize this is, you know, turned 90 degrees from what I sewed, but that's how I have to iron it. So for this one, we're gonna go just like we did. We're gonna sew those seams, press those seams opposite each other. So we're going to go out and then in and then out. So I'm just going to take my my iron. Again, you can really press a lot better with an iron than a ruler. And just kind of, I'm using my fingers to guide those seams where I want them to be. And that way I can press them even though the block is held together. Sometimes it is a little bit tricky to do that, but if you're kind of guiding it with your hand, then it's a little bit easier. And that's one of the reasons that I press on the wrong side and then flip over to the right side as well, because a lot of times I'm doing my blocks like this, so I want to verify that I've gotten those seams as flat as I can. And because sometimes it is a little bit tricky when they're held together by thread. You can't always get to it easily, especially if the block is a lot more complicated and you've got a lot of those seams to worry about. Oh, Wendy's got the IKEA table too. All right, I'm going to have to look at that, you guys. And I don't have an IKEA in Nashville for whatever reason. And so I'll have to see if I can find it some other way. Karen says she's doing an autumn leaves quilt that was a quilt along with Pat Sloan months ago. Well, that's awesome. And then you'll be all ready for fall. I love sewing non-season, like it's fun sewing springy things, right, in the spring, but it's super fun sewing things that are not spring or not, you know, seasonally, because then you're ready and you just pull it out when that seam is ready. And I mean, when that season is ready, and then you don't have to do all the work. Oh, thanks. Angie says my nails are adorable. It's hard to see. I don't think you guys can see, but in the pink, there's tiny, tiny little daisies. It's ridiculous. Okay, so now we're going to take this. This is held together by our little threads, and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to take this and sew this together. And the nice thing is there's no chance of flipping one of our petal blocks because they're held together. So we're just going to take these, take this over to the machine and sew this in place. Okay, so because this is a little bit more space and there's a little bit more fabric, I am going to just pin in place that bottom seam, and the top one's close enough that I can keep an eye on it. So I'm going to sew on this side, and then we will flip the block over and sew on the other side. And it's so fun and easy, you guys. And I know you're doing this times 15, but if you do a lot of chain piecing, then you can do it all at once, and then it just kind of speeds through and goes faster. So that's nice. So same thing on this side. I'm just going to line these up. Again, pin that bottom one in place. And then we will jam here. And so you can see this one is set, and now we're just going to line up the last seam. And these make the cutest little flower blocks. I just think they're so fun. And then once we're done with this, we'll add our sashing so that the block is the same size as the strawberry block, and it has those cute Irish chain corners that are going to help build out the chains between the blocks. So we have that fun Irish chain that runs through. So looky here, you guys. This is our cute little flower block. Do you love it? I think it's so fun. Okay, let's go press, and then we'll talk about next steps. Okay, so here's what we have. We have our cute flower block. And now we're going to take this and we're going to press these away from the center. And you can kind of see that the seams are sort of going that way anyway. So we're just going to let it tell us. We're going to let the block be the boss of us. This once. Okay. And then we're going to flip it over and admire it because it's very, very cute and it makes us think of spring. Isn't it fun, you guys? I love it. Yay. Okay, let me shimmy this away. Oh, Teresa says she loves the flowers. Okay, Bethany says her sewing table is an IKEA Hemnes desk. It's sturdy and helps her machine. Okay, that's a good one. I like that you can tell me the name. That's helpful. And Marion says she loves the block. Oh, yay, Marion. Okay, so we're going to do more building out of the sashing. So we're going to lay out our design, and this is the sashing that is going to help us build out the 12-inch size of the block, because we want it to be the same size as the strawberry block. So that once we have all these made, then all we have to do is add the sashing in between, and then we can sew, the whole thing together. So for the light background, you're going to use blue prints as the chains. In the dark background, you're going to use this in shades of the green. So that's where the difference is here, and so it's something else to keep track of. Hi, Rhonda. I'm so glad you're here. Karen asked about a cutting table that is counter height because she has back issues. Should she check IKEA? So you guys have to weigh in on that. What do you guys think about cutting tables? My cutting table is actually a table that we made out of a vintage dresser. So it was one of those like long vintage dressers that is kind of medium height. So not the tall like high boy dressers, but it's like a medium one, and we put a table on it, but it extends way past the dresser. So we kind of just built our own. So I don't have a lot of a lot of counter info, but Leon is answering, so that's good. And Rhonda got hers from Lowe's. Okay, so I love all this furniture talk. So what I would recommend is going ahead and cutting all of your navies, and then just mix and match what you would like. You want this to be sort of scrappy, and so they're not all going to be the same print unless that's your jam and it's your quilt, so you can decide. But I think that I'm going to do this because I have 3 different prints, but I have 4 corners, so a couple of them are going to be the same. So I'm just kind of mixing and matching, and I'll do the same thing when I sew my sashing together, and we'll talk about that next week. Nancy says she's late. Do I always start at the same time? Well, conceivably, yes. We always start at 2 unless we have problems, but the ideal time to start for us is at 2 o'clock, 2 o'clock Central. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to sew this together, you guys. Well, actually, yes. So we're going to take this over to the machine and sew this in place, and then that is going to be the last of our block. So you can see that it's a lot of just sewing our pieces together and keeping track of what goes where. Okay, let's go sew. Val says it's a very cute block. Thank you, Val. I appreciate that. So I'm just kind of keeping track of what I've got going here. And we'll sew these together. I can't lay this all next to each other without it overlapping, so we don't want to do that. So these are the first 2 pieces. We've got sashing and a corner piece. We're going to sew these together. And then we're going to take our flower block and we're going to put it right sides together with the sashing. And note that the flower block is on top because it's going to be in the center. So we have to do it that way to make sure everything's lined up correctly. And if you mess it up, just cut your threads and like, don't stress. This is not a stress thing. This is a make life easier thing, not a make life more stressful thing. And so we're going to sew that seam. And then we're going to take this last corner and our bottom sashing piece. We're going to turn that like this. And again, this is the centerpiece, so it's on top. And we're going to sew that in place like that. And then I'll open that out for you guys so you can kind of see where I'm going, since I wasn't able to build the block right here. Jeanette says it's good to chain piece. Yes. Definitely is my go-to thing. So see when I open this out how it's building the block correctly? So now I'm going to take this last column of things and I'm going to sew them in place on each row. So we're going to do the same thing that we did in the center and in the flower block, is we're just basically sewing these pieces together, all together, with our chains, our threads between them, so that we don't do anything funky like turn our pieces upside down. And I'm taking a minute to touch my phone every couple seconds to make sure it doesn't go to sleep. So I think a setting changed on my phone or something like that so that it doesn't like me anymore. And last piece, last but not least. Okay, so that's our last little piece. And then you can see as we open this out that all of our pieces are in place, and now all we have to do is press and then sew that last seam together. Okay, so we need our mat. And we're going to go ahead and press this in place. And I think I missed a question. Christine says, out digging in the flower beds and lost track of time. We'll watch beginning later. Flower box, very cute. Thank you, Christine. And Ruth says, do you design fabric first and then patterns, or do you have a pattern in mind and then design the fabric? Ruth, 99% of the time, unless 99% of the time I design the fabric first and then the patterns to go with it. So that's just how my brain and design process works. I will design patterns on their own without having fabric in mind if I have an idea for a specific quilt. But if we're talking things that go together, like the quilt patterns and the fabrics come first for me. So what am I pressing? What are we doing? Let's see. So we're going out and then in. So we're going out and then we're going, nope. Am I doing that wrong? Yes, I am. I'm doing that backwards. So these go in and then out and then back in. And same thing on this side, in, out, and then in. And the reason we do that is we want everything to nest together. It makes our seams look nice and pretty when they can just nest, and it makes it a whole lot easier to put the block together, and it cuts down on bulk when we are quilting the blocks and the quilt. All of it gets quilted. So we're just trying to cut down on that bulk so we don't have the quilting problems. So that's our cute little design here. And then I'm not going to sew these last two seams in place because we're running towards the end, but basically you get the gist of it by we'll sew these last two seams, and then we have our block, and all of it is built together. And so you can see that I use different navy pieces for these different corners, and so then when we put them all together in the quilt, we'll vary them in our sashing too, and then we will have this lovely scrappy Irish chain that connects our flower and strawberry blocks. So that's so fun, you guys, and I'm super excited about it. So let me, actually, you can see my face for a second. So those are our blocks for the quilt, and next week we're going to go over our sashing. There is sashing between these blocks because we needed to, I wanted 3 pieces of the Irish chain between each block, and if we were to sew it together without the sashing, we would only have 2. And so that's why there's sashing in this one. So we're going to talk about sashing next week, and then how to put it all together. So that's fun. Before we go, I want to show you guys my strawberries, but I want to answer a couple questions really quick. Jeanette asked if I was currently working on any new patterns. Jeanette, we have to work really far out for fabric design. So I actually have collections done with patterns for 2026. And in a couple months, I'll start working on basic designs for fabric for 2027. So the answer to that is yes. But I also have new patterns that are done. They're with testers right now for my Christmas collection that comes out in June called Mistletoe and Holly. And those patterns will be out very soon. They'll be out kind of mid-May for you guys. So I'm excited about that. I can't wait for you to see them. So that's fun. And Kimberly says, nice block, cute block would make a nice pillow top. Okay, so that's one of the things that I'm going to have for you guys next week is I'm going to have a free pillow pattern to make it's larger than 12 inches, but it's a way to use a 12-inch block in a pillow cover. So I'm going to have that for you guys, and I'm going to show you one that I actually made up with Melody Fabrics, and it's super cute. It's a very cute pillow. I actually put the strawberry block in it, but you could put the flower block in it too. So that's going to be fun, and we're going to go over that next week as well. So something to look forward to next week. And Bethany asked if it was cross stitch on a cane chair to the left of my sewing machine. Yes. That's one of my favorite chairs, and if you search cross stitch chair on my website, you can actually see photos of it. But I made that many years ago, and it's held up beautifully, and it's still one of my favorite things I've ever made. So I bought a vintage chair that was caned. I painted it. I made a new cushion cover out of vintage fabrics, and I cross stitched on the back of it. So go look for that. And Marion, yes, this is my new favorite thing too. So Backward Shop sent me a swig mug, and it's their cute like quilty. You can see that it's like pink quilty fabrics, designs. It's like churned ashes and all different kinds of blocks, and I love it, you guys. It's so fun. It's like lives in my sewing room. I wash it and I bring it back because I love it. So okay, so let's look at strawberries, you guys. Oh, wait. There we go. Oh, of course. One sec. One sec. Okay, sorry. We'll figure that out for next week. But I made these for Quilt Market in October of last year when I showed Berry Market, And you guys, these are so fun, and they'd be really cute pin cushions, but they're just like perfect decor, and they are so fun. So you guys, this is I have the pattern linked in the video descriptions. The pattern's from Amy Chappell of A. Maroney Designs, and she has this stuffed strawberry pattern. Her patterns are great. They're super easy to follow along, and so I made the medium size, but she has 3 different sizes in her pattern, and they there's a small one, and then medium one, and then a large one. And then I bought, for market, I needed a bunch of these, so I bought like paper ones from Amazon, but they're you can't buy just a couple. So go find like a cute ceramic one or something. I'm sure Hobby Lobby has them or something like that for them to hold, but they're just so cute for decor, or you can give them to a friend or whatever. So they're all Berry Market fabrics, which are really cute and so fun. And then I used some felt. I had felt from my stash, but I used 2 different colors for the top and the leaves. And then I have some little white felt for the flower. And then all the felt and the little pom-poms, they're like little felt balls, came from Benzie Design. And I have, I think it's linked to my website on the video description. So I have links to Benzie if you want to check it out. But they're the place to go to for felt, because they have gorgeous wool felt and wool blend felts. I don't like polyester felt at all. So you can get like a whole little bundle of these cute little flower centers, and you could even buy, they have tons of different colors, so if you want pink ones or whatever. But you're going to have fabric left over from your quilt, and these are so cute, and they make such a great little decor if you have like a cute display in your kitchen, or you know, on a shelf or something like that. Tuck these in different places, or you could you know, make up a cute little gift for a friend and give her a little strawberry. Amy's instructions also come with info to how to add like a little hanging thread. But I wanted them in a basket, so I didn't put that on. But I wanted to show you guys these because they're so cute and they look so fun, all done in here. Jeanette, not all hands, like, so I used my machine for the fabric, for the fabric, and then I hand stitched down the felt. And then I actually just glued on this top part. I used hot glue. So machine, hand, glue. So it was a combo. And I just stuffed them with fiber fill, Kimberly. I bought some fiber fill. It's like polyfill or whatever from Walmart, and stuffed them with that. So they're really fun and so cute, and I love them. So I thought you guys might like to make them too. Okay, so that's all we have for fun things to look at today. So let's talk about giveaways. So every week we have a giveaway, and it's just my way of saying thank you guys for tuning in, and I just adore you guys, and you're so patient, and I just love hanging out with you on Mondays. So you probably have seen my cute little pink Olfa rotary cutter that I'm obsessed with. You can only get these at Fat Quarter Shop. And they actually sent me one, and so I'm going to share with you because I had already bought myself one. So I'm going to share with you guys. So I have the pink Olfa rotary cutter, and if you don't win today, highly recommend pink rotary cutter because it just makes you happier. And I also have a pattern and fabric for you. So this is the afternoon tea roly-poly, and we've sewn with afternoon tea. It was my collection. Gosh, has it been almost 2 years? And then I have the tea cakes pattern that goes with that perfectly. This quilt pattern looks like you have a lot of piecing to do, but you do a lot of strip piecing, and I promise it's fast and fun. So this uses, is shown with an afternoon tea roly-poly, though you can make it with any roly-poly you'd like. And so the winner of this week's bundle is Chloe Morgan. Chloe, send me an email, bev@flamingotoes.com, and I will get your prize right out to you. And if you are Kim Louder that won last week, Kim, you mentioned in a comment that you won, and yay, but you didn't send me an email. Or if you did, I didn't get it. So I need you to send me your address, Kim, so I can send you last week's prize. So I have some goodies for you guys this week. One second. This is making me crazy, guys. Okay, good thing we're almost done, huh? So now we're past Easter, we can start to do all the patriotic 4th of July things, right? So I grabbed a 10-inch stacker and my ceiling fan's on. Sorry, I get too hot doing these videos to not have the ceiling fan on. I grabbed a 10-inch stacker of Sweet Freedom for you, and this was my cute patriotic collection from last year. If you're looking for Sweet Freedom, I still have some in the shop, so hop on over if you're like, I need to make all the patriotic things now. But you can also wait and win next week if you would like. So I have a Sweet Freedom 10-inch stacker, and then I just grabbed a few fun things. This is a Lori Holt design board. This is a 7-inch by 7-inch. I thought it looked really cute and fun with the patriotic. So it's great for holding those little blocks, or if you stitch, you can, put your floss on it and your needle minder and keep yourself all tidy when you're stitching. And speaking of Lori Holt needle minder, I thought this was kind of barn quilt-ish. So this is one of her star needle minders. It's very cute. It's very big, but it's perfect for a backing board like this. So you can put it on your backing board, put your needle on it, and then you can keep your floss and everything tidy. And then I also have for you a Riley Blake 1/4-inch plus ruler. So it's got this pretty aqua frame around it, and it's not just to look cute, that's the 1/4-inch line. So you can easily see where your 1/4-inch is. It's great for trimming, it's perfect for keeping by your machine, and it's great for taking on like trips if you're going to go to a retreat. And this is also good. You can, it has these corners, and you can trim your dog ears really easily too. So this is this week's bundle, and all you have to do to enter is leave a comment, and that is your entry. And you can do that whether you're watching live or later in the week, and you can do that whether you're in the US or outside of the US. The giveaways are open for everybody. So that's all we have for today. I will see you guys next week as we finish up our Berry Market quilts. And if you're not done, this is not a stress thing. This is just a visual guide so that you can sew the blocks together at your speed and however that works out for you. So don't feel like if you don't have all the blocks done by next week, you're late, because you're not. So I will see you guys next Monday. I hope you have a lovely week and enjoy some spring weather. And thank you guys so much for tuning in. It just means the world to me. I appreciate you guys. Have a fabulous week. Bye, everybody.